Hello everybody, my name is Advaith Vutukuru and welcome back to the Advaith Vutukuru Show. Today, I am at an extremely special place. We've all been to commercial airports, flying to a place and another place. But have you ever been to a private airport? That's exactly where I am today, interviewing the CEO, Mr. Sandhu. Let's go everybody. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm extremely excited to meet him. His office is right there. So, hello, Mr. Sandhu.
Hi, come on in.
How are you doing today?
All right, have a seat.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Sandhu.
Yes.
So, how are you doing today?
Great.
Doing good?
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for coming in.
And thank you for letting us have the opportunity to be here.
Sure.
So, to start off with my question, I would like to start off by first talking about like what you do here on your day-to-day basis as a CEO.
All right. So, what FiveRivers Aviation does, and we've been here at the Livermore Airport for about 10 years. We manage all the ground support for the airport. Previously, the excuse me. All right, sorry. So previously, the city had been running it for the last 50 years, and they reached a point where the needs of the customers kind of outweighed some of the capabilities that the city and the city employees could provide. So they wanted to privatize it, and we started talking about that about 12 years ago. About 11 years ago, we built this facility, and about 10 years ago, we opened it. So since then, we've been providing all the ground support. It's all the fuel, the concierge services, ground power units, and water and lab and that sort of thing to service the aircraft and to make it a pleasant experience for the passengers coming to and from Livermore Airport.
Wow. So like in a few years, you've advanced it this much. So the question I have is, in a few more years, how much would you expect it to advance?
Well, there's quite a bit of potential here at Livermore. We have the Las Positas Community College, and we've been in discussions with them in regards to flight training, aircraft maintenance training, air traffic control training, and we're also talking to electric aircraft manufacturers about setting up passenger shuttles between here and the major airports and major commuting destinations. And then working also, again, with the community college to train students on how to maintain and to fly these new generation of electric aircraft.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've seen whenever I go to a trip or something, I book tickets online and then I go to my trip and I like come back. Is it like similar to that where people can just book tickets or?
No, there's no airline service here at Livermore. So all of the aircraft here are private aircraft and corporate aircraft. So we have many companies that have set up worldwide or regional headquarters in and around the community around the airport so that they can manage their businesses. Costco's California headquarters is in the back of the Costco right across the freeway from the airport. Gillig Bus Company moved here from Hayward. They were near the Hayward Airport, and now they moved across the street from the Livermore Airport. They're the largest bus company in the United States. We see Comcast, Lowe's, Home Depot, Albertsons, Safeway, Ross Stores, a Workday. Those are all our common customers, and it's usually not necessarily the highest ranking people of those companies, but it's usually the mid-level managers that actually have to travel more and go to all the different locations and keep the stores running smoothly.
Wow. So speaking of other airports, like how I just asked, like I saw that like there's like big towers and stuff where people like manage all the airplanes, right? So and I see a lot of airplanes out there. So when these airplanes, like when they fly, like how do you have contact of them? Like is it similar to normal airports? Or
It is. So There's three types of aircraft traffic controllers. There's the local towers they're situated at airports, and you see the actual tower.
Yeah.
And then there's approach and departure control. And here in this area, that is called NorCal approach or NorCal departure. And they sit in a facility that's in Mather, in like eastern Sacramento. And from there, they have big radar rooms where different geographies are in different rooms, and they break up the sectors depending on how busy it is, and they consolidate them back down when it's not busy. And they're the ones that feed the traffic towards the airport. And then there's en route control, and here in this geography, that's called Oakland Center, but their facility is actually in Fremont. So in Fremont, there's a facility with radar, and they usually do the higher altitudes or the more rural areas further away from places that have approach control. Not everywhere in America has approach control, but here we have a high concentration of airports and airline airports so that from the Bay Area all the way to Reno is managed by NorCal Approach up to 19,000 feet in this area. And so when it gets down to the tower that you could actually see at an airport, they're really just making sure that they're just controlling the very local area. Here in Livermore, it's up to 2,500 feet above the ground and about 5 miles radius. And they pretty much manage whose turn it is to use the pavement. So we have, 2 runways here in parallel, and they make sure that only one plane is on the runway at a time, either taking off or landing. So if you ask to come to take off, they might tell you that you could go right up to the runway, but don't go on it. And then they'll tell you, okay, now it's your turn to use the runway. You're cleared for takeoff. And you could turn, you tell them ahead of time which way do you want to turn after you take off. And then the other thing that happens in the local tower is that they manage the ground operations. There's areas on the airport where you don't need permission from the tower to operate. And then when you cross a line, everything on the other side of that line needs permission from the ground control in the tower to operate there. So there's some places that are strictly airplane only.
Wow.
And then there's other places where we have cars, fuel trucks, ground support equipment, and they don't need the permission from the tower to kind of operate in those areas.
I see. So, can any airplane flying from, let's say, another area just come and land here? Or is it a protection protocol where people have to, talk to the people in the tower and do all that?
No, anybody can land here. This is a public airport. Caltrans takes some responsibility for the pavement on the airport because they consider it just like a public road.
Wow.
Right? So just like you don't have to ask permission to get on the highway, you don't have to ask permission to use the airport unless, of course, it has a control tower. Then you just ask to take your turn.
Wow.
So our control tower for a good majority of the aircraft coming, they have no idea that they're coming until they're within 5 miles of the airport. And then they say, okay, I'm here, I want to land. And they're like, okay, yeah, we got 3 airplanes before you, go this way and follow them. And so you don't have to, in some countries, you need to send a letter to the authorities and say, I want to fly on this day. Can I have permission? And it's not like that in the United States. Wow. In fact, many other countries send students here to learn how to fly. From China, Japan, India, Korea, Germany. Lufthansa pilots fly here. They used to fly out of Bakersfield. Now they're in Arizona, I believe.
Wow.
But it's so cumbersome to learn how to fly in most other countries, and our airspace is so open and accessible that many students come from all over the planet because this is such an easy place to fly in. Wow. Most of the airspace in the United States is unrestricted. In many countries, it's the other way around.
Okay, I see. So most of the air, anybody can just come and land here then?
Right. Yeah, in fact, 90% of the airports in America don't have control towers.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so there's over 5,000 airports in the United States. The airlines use maybe 70.
Yeah.
Most of the rest of them don't have control towers.
That's
Tracy Airport, Byron Airport, Half Moon Bay Airport, Morgan Hill, San Martin, Hollister, Watsonville,
wow.
Marina. I could go on and on.
They
There's
don't
like,
have
that's just our local airports that you can fly to anytime you like,
they don't have control.
and there's no control towers.
Whoa.
Even here in Livermore, the control tower is not 24 hours. When they close, doesn't mean you can't land. It just becomes an uncontrolled airport, and there's you don't even have to have a radio installed in your airplane. Many of these farmers out in the Central Valley that fly crop dusters don't even have a radio in their airplanes.
That's crazy.
If you do have a radio and you're going to an uncontrolled field, you can use what's called the Common Traffic Advisory frequency, which is usually the same frequency that had been used as the control tower frequency during the day. And you can speak on that and communicate with other pilots that are also flying in, and everybody flies the same pattern. So you can merge in with the other traffic even if you're not talking to them. But if you are talking to them, that's even better. It gives you more situational awareness.
Wow. So after hearing all that, I'm extremely interested to see around this area. So if it's okay with you, can we tour the place?
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, so the front lobby here is meant to be like our operations center. It's meant to be a fishbowl. We could see aircraft coming on arrival. We could see aircraft on the ramp. We could see cars coming through. We have our own gate to allow passengers to progress. And then it's mostly passenger centric. We have the airline style seats. So, they start coming from an old 747. We have the front desk has a 727 engine nacelle on it. We have the galley carts there. So that kind of supports the customers. And here we have snacks and beverages available for passengers and pilots.
Oh, cool.
The first room on either side of the lobby is the restroom, because that's usually the first place the passengers want to go.
Convenient.
And then we have a small vending area for pilots, and then we have a pilot's lounge here.
Oh, wow.
So oftentimes, it's the pilots are come here for a relatively short stay, and they'll just hang out here at the airport and then be ready to go.
That makes sense.
In the evenings, we often get organ transplant flights, and they typically come in around 10 p.m. And it's a mad rush when they get here, and ambulances and doctors and all that. And then we prep the airplane to be ready to depart as soon as they arrive. And then the pilots come here and they wait for hours, maybe, right? And so as soon as their phones ring that the ambulance is on the way back, then they just jump up and scramble. So in the meantime, they might be playing Nintendo or watching TV, taking a quick shower, taking a nap, doing their flight planning. So this is kind of where they can relax and hang out. And then usually at like 2 or 3 in the morning, then they're in a mad rush to depart. And so they run back to the plane, get the engine started before the ambulance returns.
That makes
right?
sense. Wow. That's
And then sometimes we have customers that just are here for a quick meeting. So they'll just ask to reserve the conference room and just have their meeting right here at the airport.
Wow.
And then be on to their next visit. We have, when you talk about companies like Costco or Ross Stores or something, and they're going to many different locations in the same day, it's convenient for them to never have to leave the airport and then on to their next spot.
This whole area is like, it's kind of like smaller than normal airport, but like extremely convenient,
Right. And then we have like the service side of the building. We have a larger kitchen here with a big ice maker, a dishwasher, a big catering fridge.
Wow.
We have a small laundry room where we could wash their dinner napkins or linens that they might have on the plane, because these people they're pretty much living on the plane, going from one location to the other. They don't have time to eat. They don't have, so a lot of times the food arrives here so that they can eat in between their business meetings. And then sometimes we have customers that just are here for a quick meeting. So they'll just ask to reserve the conference room and just have their meeting right here at the airport.
Wow.
And then be on to their next visit. We have, when you talk about companies like Costco or Ross Stores or something, and they're going to many different locations in the same day, it's convenient for them to never have to leave the airport and then on to their next spot.
This whole area is like, it's
Yeah.
kind of like smaller than normal airport, but like extremely convenient, you know?
Right, right. And then we have like the service side of the building. We have a larger kitchen here with a big ice maker, a dishwasher, a big catering fridge.
Wow.
We have a small laundry room where we could wash their dinner napkins or linens that they might have on the plane, because
Yeah.
these people they're pretty much living on the plane, going from one location to the other. They don't have time to eat. They don't have, so a lot of times the food arrives here so that they can eat in between their business meetings. Here is the sheriff's hangar.
The hangar. Wow.
So we have 2 out of 3 of the sheriff's aircraft here right now. These aircraft are equipped with surveillance equipment, radio equipment, so that they can provide oversight and protection of officers that are on the ground in high-risk situations. They can also establish a perimeter that would normally take dozens of officers to set up a perimeter on the ground, where one aircraft in the air can see a much wider area and keep track of a hotspot and make sure that that dangerous people aren't breaching the perimeter. And then the helicopter is equipped the same way, and they have different capabilities in terms of their loiter abilities and whatnot. Similarly, in the hangar next door, there's the East Bay Regional Parks Police. They have 2 helicopters. They have capabilities of dropping water on fires, doing medevac. All of their staff is trained as EMTs, and they have they can do external loads and pull people out of tight spots that are inaccessible otherwise. If someone falls off a ledge or a cliff while hiking in the Pleasanton Ridge or Mount Diablo, they can go in with the helicopter and hoist them out of there. And hoist them to safety. And they want to get actually a helicopter that's slightly wider than the ones they have now. Not only can it carry more water, but it can carry it internally instead of on an external load, which allows them to fly over populated areas.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And the second, so they could fight more fires. The other really neat thing about that helicopter is it can fit a gurney. So it could take people from here to the closest trauma center, which is all the way over in Castro Valley.
Oh.
And even with lights and sirens, an ambulance takes a long time to get there
100%.
during traffic times. So these are great resources that we love to have in our community, and we want to get more public safety resources like that. Now, part of what we want to build is additional facilities so that we could attract CAL FIRE, we could attract CHP, and build a bigger facility for East Bay Regional Parks and the sheriff as well.
Wow, this is actually amazing.
Yeah, so we have 3 hangars of this size on this side, and then we have 4 hangars that are smaller in the building where the offices are.
Wow.
And basically, there's just indoor spaces for aircraft so that they can be protected from the elements. They can be we can do maintenance on them. And it offers, additional privacy and security for some of these aircraft as well. This hangar typically has 5 aircraft in it, and 3 of them are off on trips. Actually, 1 just returned, so it'll come back in here. The other 2 are off on trips.
That's actually they're big. It's super big. It's like it's actually. Like, how do they even get the planes in here? Like, through that small?
That big whole wall moves.
It moves?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
So that wall is on tracks. In fact, the wall you're looking at actually belongs to the hangar next to us.
Oh.
The second, see, there's 2 doors.
Yeah.
That door, is usually in front of that hangar, and that door is where in its normal place.
Oh.
This is one of my airplanes. So, this is the family minivan with wings. So. If it's somewhere in North America, you usually will take this plane. Canada, Mexico, East Coast. It could get to the East Coast in a day. Coming back might take a day and a half just because it's against the winds.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but if you want to take a look inside, like this is this tug can lift up a nose wheel of a large jet.
Wow.
Like any of the jets that are here at the airport, no matter how big. It could lift. It can move an airplane that's 135,000 pounds. So there's every single business jet, even some of the small airliners, like a small 737. It can move around.
And the big ones as well.
Baggage. This is a little small mobile refueler. And then these are our main refueler trucks, right? So these larger ones carry jet fuel, 6,000, 5,000, and 3,000 gallons of jet fuel. And then these smaller ones carry aviation gasoline up to I think they're 1,500 gallons each.
Wow.
And then here's our storage facility. So we have 2 large tanks for aviation gasoline, 2 large tanks for jet fuel, and then we have another kind of avgas with unleaded and diesel, and these smaller planes can taxi straight up to these pumps, and either 100 octane leaded or 94 octane unleaded. They're coming out with the 100 octane unleaded soon, and then the jets are using jet fuel, which is it's a simpler fuel. It's kind of like more kerosene based, so it's more similar to diesel than it is to gasoline. Yeah. Now look, either 100 octane leaded or 94 octane unleaded. They're coming out with the 100 octane unleaded soon, and then the jets are using jet fuel, which is it's a simpler fuel. It's kind of like more kerosene based, so it's more similar to diesel than it is to gasoline. Yeah. The blue planes that when we repaint the planes blue, like we've been converting the planes from white to blue over the years, and we have 3 of them so far. So it says FiveRivers underneath the wings, and each plane is named after a different one of the rivers. So that one's Sutlej. The second one here is Chenab, and then Ravi is in maintenance currently.
In the rivers in Punjab?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think this one's next to get painted. It looks like it's really worn paint, and we're going to send this one to turn blue, and then we'll put a name of another river on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I see in the front seat? Or
sure.
Not? Yeah.
You can fly.
Yeah. Wait, right now?
Yeah.
I can fly? From my phone. Are you? As you guys can see, I'm flying over Mountain House right now, all by myself. This is actually a one-of-a-kind experience. Oh my God. So as you can see, I just flew an airplane with the help of Mr. Sandhu. So thank you so much for doing that. That was an extremely one-of-a-kind experience. And he let me turn it, move it up and down, and during the takeoff, he let me push it, and it was just crazy. And so thank you so much for tuning into the Advaith Vutukuru Show. I hope you enjoyed this video, because I sure did. And stay tuned for next video. Thank you so much, Mr. Pete.
My pleasure.